Welcome. Thank you for lending an ear to the Voice of the Times for Wednesday, July 21, 2021. For today's editorial, BIR exceeding expectations. The Bureau of Internal Revenue, or BIR, reported last week that it had collected 1.034 trillion in taxes for the first 6 months of this year, exceeding its revenue collection target of 1.017 trillion by 16.35 billion or 1.61% and surpassing the collections in the January to June 2020 period by 8.6%. Being as human as anyone else, we understand that virtually no one considers the obligation to pay taxes a pleasant one, no matter how well he or she understands the rational basis for it, and that as a result, the BIR is probably the least popular of all government agencies. Likewise, the Bureau has created some controversy with the two recent rulings in relation to the implementation of the new Corporate Recovery and Tax Incentives for Enterprises or CREATE Act, decisions that we do not agree with. However, none of this should detract from what has been a remarkable performance from the BIR. BIR Commissioner Cesar Dulay attributed the Bureau's above-target collection performance to, quote, more sustained and focused collection effort, intensified audit and investigations, as well as efficiency gains brought about by the BIR's intensive efforts to digitalize its operations and taxpayer services. It is probably fair to say that the COVID-19 pandemic and its associated restrictions on normal activity advanced the BIR's digitalization efforts more quickly than they otherwise might have proceeded, simply because taxpayer options were physically limited. The BIR reported that of 1,437,609 annual income tax returns or AITR for 2020 filed this year, only 7,139 or less than 0.5% were filed manually. The rest were filed through the BIR's Electronic Filing and Payment Systems, or EFPS, and Electronic BIR Forms systems. That the BIR exceeded its revenue collection goal shows that, on the agency's part, it has been successful in efficiently meeting demand for digital services. Paying taxes may never be considered fun, but the BIR has done much to make it as fast and convenient as possible. One significant contributor to BIR's collection efforts during the first 6 months of the year was the acceleration of its Upland Candado program, targeting businesses with tax delinquencies and other tax violations. According to a report to the Department of Finance, the BIR said that in January to May this year, it had suspended the operations of 207 business establishments, resulting in the collection of more than 995 million pesos in delinquent taxes and penalties. By comparison, in all of last year, the BIR shuttered a total of 209 businesses and collected 608 million pesos in taxes and penalties. As we noted earlier, the BIR is still at the center of a couple of serious questions, specifically its recent directives raising corporate income taxes on private schools and eliminating the VAT or value-added tax exemption for a large number of transactions of exporters. These are complicated issues that potentially threaten the country's economic recovery, and we strongly believe they need to be reconsidered. While these particular issues might be debated, the big picture with respect to the BIR is quite admirable and deserves recognition. After countless years through several administrations of being a chronic embarrassment to the country, the BIR has evolved under its current leadership. It is no longer an agency racked by efficiency and corruption, handicapping government policy goals by consistently missing its revenue targets and turning a blind eye to rampant tax evasion. The BIR's transformation could not have come at a more opportune time. As the government continues to wrestle with the seemingly endless COVID-19 pandemic and looks toward the country's eventual economic recovery, now more than ever it needs its primary revenue collection agency to function effectively in order to provide the resources needed to look after the Filipino people and help the country get back on its feet. The BIR has answered the challenge by diligently carrying out its mandate to enforce revenue laws on the one hand, and on the other, greatly improving its connection to taxpayers to make it easier for them to meet their civic obligations. And that's the editorial for July 21, 2021. For more news and information, get a copy of the Manila Times on print. Subscribe to its digital edition or log on to www.manilatimes.net. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram. And listen to the Voice of the Times.